I'm Dave Cleveland. I'm from Austin, Texas. I've lived in Austin most of my life. Grew up very athletic, very outdoors. I'm a construction worker. My dad taught welding, so I also weld, so I know a lot of general building things. Grew up racing motorcycles and traveling around the state doing that. So because of that, I did a lot of working out. Did a lot of water sports and snow sports and just basically everything that didn't involve a ball. No basketball, no baseball, but all the other sports. Everything with wheels, definitely. We had a little bit of a motorcycle track when we first moved here, when the kids were real little and were riding mini bikes. But I didn't want to make a lot of motorcycle track here because I didn't want the noise to annoy the neighbors too much. So there's 5 acres, and that track covered probably 3.5 to 4 of the acres because my sister lives adjacent to us, and she didn't mind that the track infringed on her property. So that's a pretty big track. Well, then when we got into BMX racing, and we always rode bicycles, but when we actually got into the racing, we built a track to practice on. And so all the dimensions matched the national ABA certified tracks. So that track needed a different ratio of height to distance. So we built it on this other side. And at the same time, I was looking around at construction sites, and I found a place that was doing a lot of dirt work. And I asked them if they would deliver their leftover dirt to me. And they needed rid of it, so I got it all for free. And we got 250 big dump trucks of dirt, mostly the 12-yard size, but some of the big, I forget what they call the beds, where the whole bed dumps. But anyway, so we had 250 of those, and then we reworked the property and made it the shape we wanted. So that track stayed primarily the same. There were a few modifications, like every year we would add a jump or change something a little bit. And then this track is completely different. This is a downhill slope style that's all jumps. There's not much pedaling at all. It's just control and brakes. I have 2 sons, and like me, they've stayed active even as they've gotten older. And I've always said, if you don't use it, you lose it. And that includes balance, it includes any skill set. So part of when I was doing the semi-pro motorcycle stuff is I rode bicycles a lot to keep up skill sets, to keep up balance and everything, timing and hand-eye coordination. So our property, there's a valley at the bottom, the house is up on a hill. So when I laid the second track out, because we used to have a BMX track, when we laid out this slope style track, I didn't quite have the height I wanted dropping into the first set of jumps. So I decided, well, what I need is I need to start from up in a tree. And I thought, well, that's doable. So I just built ramps out of metal and then put wood down on it because I repurposed the wood that was for the back deck on the house when we took it apart. So I have the frames, I have templates built so all the curves will match up. And then I just welded up the frames, laid wood on it, and then installed it. And so now I have the height I wanted, and then it makes the roll-in speed correct for the rest of the jumps. Okay, so this is downstairs in the shop. This is just a wood burning stove. This is the bicycle parking. The pit is out there. Do we want to see the pit?
Sure.
So you can drive a car over the top of that. It has drainage in it. And the welder's just right here. All my doors are that thick. So some of the things I've built, I like building things. I like thinking of something and then seeing if I can build it. So it's the physics of it, and it's also the art of it. And I can do a little bit of sculpting, but I'm not good. But I like how that plays together with the physics. So over there's some aluminum where we took recycled soda cans and melted them down and poured some ingots and made some stuff. When I was digging the cave, which is the storm shelter, took out a big rock and sculpted it into a bird bath that's in the backyard. there's always projects like that. Right now, I'm building a cat tree. It's for my wife's cats, and just changing things, always building something. Land can be changed any way you want. For some reason, a lot of people think you just have what's there, but I know that you can change it. So I was cutting into the hillside to make room for storage, and I realized, oh, this isn't too terribly bad. So I just kept cutting, and I cut in and made a storm shelter or tornado safe zone. And people are interested in that because it's extensive for doing it by hand. It's solid rock. Okay, so this was all solid rock, and I chipped it out. It was just an electric chipping hammer because it's a good workout. And I was just making a little room for a wheelbarrow, and I thought, yeah, I can make it a little bigger. I could store something else. And then I just kept going. My wife laughs because she just says all the time I have to build tools to do projects because I'll come up with an idea, but there's no way to do the idea. So I'll have to make a tool so that I then can build the project. When my two sons were younger, they wanted to skateboard some. So the shop's big enough that on this side, we put in a little skate park. We did a double, how do I describe that? Double quarter ramps. But one was an S-curve recurve, so it started at the top and went down and back out. You went across the flat and up the other side. And there's a grind rail, and there's another ledge. And that's where I learned I was never a skateboarder, but that's where the kids actually taught me how to pump, where you could be on a skate ramp that has a slope on both sides, and you can ride indefinitely without never pushing on the ground or anything, just by the way you do your body, like on a swing set, that you keep your momentum going. And the same is true on the bike track, that when you go through a whoop section, once you've learned the skill, you can ride a bicycle pump track with never pedaling, and you can ride as long as you want indefinitely and never pedal a bicycle. And it's the same principle. You're just using physics to keep your momentum going. So, Nisi, how old am I?
50.
50 what?
3.
53. So 53. So I started running consistently when I was probably 13 because of the motorcycle racing and to stay in shape. So I was on the track team actually before that in junior high, but I was sick on the day of tryouts, so I just did all the jumping things. I did long jump and high jump because it's the only thing I could do, and then I just never switched back to running. But I've always run recreationally. I've done a lot of races, half marathon and everything below that. But with my running, I've never been really good at running. I've just run to stay in shape to do other things. So when I turned 30, actually before that, when I was 29, I decided for my 30th birthday, I would give myself a running goal that I would beat my high school record in the mile, which was just under 6 minutes. So I was like a 5:55 miler, which was not fast, but that's what I was. So I took a year and trained for that. Now, of course, I'd already been running. I always have run, but I worked on the speed. And after 1 year exactly, on the weekend of my birthday, I got a 5:54. So I beat it. So then when I was fixing to turn 40, I thought, I ought to do that again, but it's going to take longer because I'm older. So 2 years ahead of time, I decided I would try to break that record. So I started running again and working on the mile. And about a year in, I had to have surgery for a double hernias from lifting something I shouldn't have lifted. And so that really set me back. And so once again, it took all the way to the weekend of my birthday. And at that time, I broke that record and I ran a 5:50 mile at 40. So people were asking me if I was going to do it at 50. Was I going to try to break the record again? And I just wasn't motivated by it. I was doing a lot of motorcycle racing and quad racing at the time. So I did not. But now I'm getting close to 55, and I'm going to try to break the 5:55 at 55. And I think I can. I think I can get below 5:50. My running's going real well for that.